We're live. Where am I? Here I am. Hey everybody, it's Bill the Knee Pain Guru. Today, it's been kind of chilly today here in the mountains of western North Carolina. We are going to talk about today, got a message from a dancer, professional dancer who's having issues with their knee slipping out. Hold on a second, let me get the... geez, I can't turn it. Okay, it says 1K Pride is the person who wrote in. It says, good info, what can I do if my knee is easy to slip out while I'm a current professional entertainment dancer? Okay, good point. In order to understand and how to prevent the knee from dislocating, we have to disconnect a little bit from our conventional thinking of strengthening the legs. And what I'm talking about is that there are no muscles in your knee. Go to your doctor, your physical therapist. They'll have the muscle anatomy chart up on the wall. There will be no muscles in the knee. It will only be tendons, ligaments, and fascia that are in the knee joint as far as what you would need to be strengthened to hold the knee joint together. So when looking at a situation where the knee easily slips out, actually I should, before we talk about this, make sure you go to the doctor. You know, you want to make sure you go to the doctor first, that there's nothing broken or torn in the knee. That's one of the mistakes I made when I first injured my knee. I partially tore the ligament in my knee, the left knee, and what ended up happening is I kept pushing my knee thinking I'd never had a joint injury like that before. I'd never torn a ligament in my knee, in my body before. So what ended up happening is I kept going and doing things that would further damage the ligament in my knee, and I ended up tearing meniscus as well. So part of the dislocations that were happening in the knee was a result of the ligament was not intact. So first and foremost, if you have issues with the knee dislocating, problems with the knee not feeling stable, you want to go to a doctor, get it checked out. X-ray, CT scan, MRI, just to make sure the knee is mechanically sound. Once you have a mechanically sound knee, meaning nothing is broken or torn, ligaments are intact, meniscus is intact, you didn't fracture any bones or anything in the knee, then you understand you're only dealing with a neurological response to pain. And if the knee is still dislocating, then, or it's as 1K Pride puts it, it's slipping out, what we want to do is look at how the joint is lined up. Now, a lot of times joints are lined up incorrectly, but on an X-ray, CT scan, MRI, it's going to look fine. It's going to look normal. Yet you're still going to have issues with the knee. Then it's a point of working with the tension patterns that are displayed in the neurology of the knee to get the knee to line up correctly. And we also have to look at, the strengthening of the tendons, ligaments, and fascia in the joint. So I'm circling back to what I was talking about just a minute ago. I see a few people are on here. If, by the way, you have questions, put those in the live chat. I'll get to those in just a second. And then make sure to give the video a thumbs up, like, and subscribe to the Knee Pain Guru YouTube channel, as well as turn on notifications for future videos. Okay. Strengthening tendons, ligaments, and fascia in the joint is crucial to developing the type of strength that gives the stability to the joint. Tendons connect muscle to bone. Ligaments connect bone to bone. Fascia surrounds all of it. Fascia is like this silvery white type of material that surrounds all our muscles, tendons, ligaments, everything in our body. And what ends up happening is when the joint gets out of whack a little bit, what happens is it creates like a slight misalignment, and we have to change that through the neurology. By creating comfort in the joint, we allow the joint to line back up properly, like the body does it itself, and then once we get it in that new good place, then we have to look at strengthening the tendons, ligaments, and fascia in the joint, which is going to look completely different than leg extensions, leg curls, leg raises. That's only going to get you so far. They mainly focus on strengthening the muscles in the legs as opposed to strengthening the tendons, ligaments, and fascia. Not that it doesn't. Leg curls, leg raises, leg extensions, they do strengthen the tendons, ligaments, and fascia to some degree, but it's not the focus. There's a difference. When we're looking at bringing stability to the joint, we have to approach it from a way of bringing stability to the joint in a way that is non-linear. And what am I talking about as far as non-linear? Leg extensions, leg curls, and leg raises are all when you're in a static position and you're moving the joint linearly. You're bending the leg or extending the leg. But the trick comes in, the strength that we're looking for is going to get you out of a car comfortably. So when you get up out of a car, you're not getting up linearly. You're kind of pushing yourself to the side. You're moving while you're trying to get up at the same time. It's a non-linear type of movement. So if you try to take a linear movement, leg extensions, leg curls, leg raises, and your body tries to translate it to a non-linear movement, you're going to feel weak. You're going to feel unstable. You're going to be holding your breath. And it's just going to kind of compound on the situation. So you can see how we have to dynamically look at what's going on. For 1K Pride, when we're talking about dancing, majority of it is nonlinear movements. You're moving around a room, you're twisting, you're bending, whatever the case is. So we have to focus on the strengthening the tendons, ligaments, and fascia. So I saw we got a comment from Craig. Hi. Hi. If you have a question, go ahead and type it in about what's going on with your knees. Make sure to give the video a thumbs up, like and subscribe to the channel, Knee Pain Guru channel. Turn on notifications for future videos. I do these several times per week, depending on how busy I get with helping people with knee pain. If you would like to know, like, where do you go from here? Like, liking and subscribing to the channel and hearing me talk about how to get out of pain is one thing. If you want to take action, then I'd suggest or point you in the direction of heading on over to the Knee Pain Guru, the kneepainguru.com website. I have a video you can watch on there that talks about my approach, which focuses all around comfort and giving relief to the knee through the nervous system by changing the neurological signaling in the knee. And then, let's see, Richard says, I have been diagnosed, okay, with laxity of the knee. Got it. And it probably, the knee slides, probably sloppy. Is anything broken or torn in the knee, Richard? Because that's the big piece we have to look at. Is we have to make sure that it's only lax ligaments and there is not anything broken or torn. Because that's what I started the video off with in terms of understanding. Keeps collapsing and slides sideways movements. Okay. I'll go back to my initial piece on we have to make sure nothing is broken or torn in the knee, because a ligament that is partially torn, and I will, that's what I screwed up on. When a knee is partially torn, it can cause the joint to be lax and create the issues. Once we know that the ligaments are intact, and the doctors can do that, they call it a Lockman's test. A Lockman's test, and a real good orthopedic doctor will know how to do it, and they'll be able to test your knee in the better part of 20 seconds, 30 seconds, to determine if if one of the ligaments are torn, or partially torn, fully torn. And when they determine that, then it's a different conversation than if you just are diagnosed with a lax ligament. You can see how it's apples and oranges. If your knee is lax because the ligament doesn't exist, it's a different conversation than if the ligaments are lax and they're still intact. You still have ligaments to strengthen. And that's what we could talk about in this conversation, is understanding that that's a little bit of homework that's important for you to do to determine if the ligaments are torn, or if the ligaments are torn or the ligaments are just loose. Okay, let's see, Richard and Craig. Okay, let's address Richard here first. I have had the test and not torn from a private hospital in UK. Great. So then we would go around the strategy that I was talking about as far as, ligament strengthening. Richard, are you experiencing pain? Like when the ligaments are lax and the joint will be loose, do you experience pain in the joint? Or is it just a lax thing, like you feel unstable and you walk on uneven surfaces? Okay, no pain. Then I have a book that focuses solely on a program, actually, that focuses solely on strengthening the tendons and ligaments in the joint. My concern, though, like, that can address what's going on, but my concern is how your body is compensating for the lax ligament. Meaning, whenever we have that instability in our structure, there's a tendency for the hips and the lower back to kind of compensate, to protect the knee, because we don't want to fall. We don't want to fall. So the rest of the body will compensate, and that was compensation patterns. Yeah, like the hip soreness. So I do have a program that you may be a fit for. It's called Knee Club. Head on over to the kneepainguru.com website, watch the video on the homepage, and that should take you through to more detailed videos on the Knee Club program that I have. And it's working with the entire body, because the knee doesn't hurt in a vacuum. You know, calves and shins, hamstrings and quads, hips and lower back, they're all affected. Let's see. Craig says, I have poor ankle mobility on my left, a tight hip on the left side, and inside pain on my knee. And Craig, is the pain on the inside of the left knee as well? And I don't assume things. It's important. Any of the clients that I work with, I don't assume which knee it is or what part of the body, because the more detailed we are, is that, got it, on the inside, but is that inside of the same knee that you have the tight ankle and hip? and this is going to be helpful in terms of determining, because this is how the body compensates. Okay, same knee, perfect. So, Craig, understand from your body's perspective what it's doing to create the mobility that you're lacking in the ankle and in the hip. It's got to go to the knee and loosen up in order to get the mobility that it required, that you're required to move. Like, the body compensates. You stub your toe, you tense your shoulders, and you clench your jaw. You have a knee replacement. The body compensates and shifts to the other side to protect the knee that was injured for years. And the tension goes into the knee on the other side, the leg on the other side, the hips and the lower back. And eventually those other joints wear. So it's not just the knee replacement that's affected. So you have other things that are going on. Glute med a factor. Well, the rest of the body is compensating. Like something else, something is going on in your body that is causing the ligaments to be loose in the knee, the ankle, and the hip to be tight. Or, wait, no, that was Richard's hip soreness. The leg was longer, or shall I say high hip. Okay, now here's a question for you. The hips are supposed to rotate when you walk so you don't trip. So when you step forward on your right leg, the right hip gets shorter and the left hip will get longer, because the right hip needs to swing the leg and the left leg needs to extend to push off. So for that moment, the left leg is longer, the right leg is shorter. When you step through and now you're swinging the left leg through, the hip will rotate back, making the left hip, the left leg shorter and the right leg longer, because the right leg is pushing off and the left leg needs to swing to take the step forward. So when we have a compensation pattern in the body to protect the knee, what ends up happening is those patterns in the hips can get locked, which makes the leg seem permanently one leg shorter, one leg longer. That's not necessarily the case, because we're talking about an anatomical correctness, an anatomical imbalance as opposed to mechanical imbalance. Anatomical imbalance is going to look like you have an x-ray done and you actually measure the lengths of the bones in your legs to determine that the actual bone is not one leg is longer than the other. Whereas if you're have a mechanical imbalance, you're looking at one of the hips locked forward or back, creating the long leg, short leg issue. Is that making sense? So, yeah, that's what I work with clients on, to get the pain out of the knee, strengthen the tendons and ligaments in the knee, tendons, ligaments, and fascia in the knee, as well as bring the balance into the hips and lower back, releasing the tension patterns so you're not struggling with what you have going on. And if you want more information, head on over to the kneepainguru.com website. There's lots of information over there. And the program that I work with my clients in is called Knee Club. Knee Club, kind of like Fight Club, just with knees. There's no fighting. Anyhow, if you like the video, the valuable information, give it a thumbs up, like and subscribe to the Knee Pain Guru YouTube channel. Turn on notifications for future videos. I'm going to have to bounce here. My sit bone has a lot of scar tissue there too. Yep, we would have to look at the balance, get your get the hips balanced, the sit bones balanced, the hips balanced, so you feel more comfortable, like across the board. There's things that we could do to work with the scar tissue in and around the sit bones. Yeah, it's a comprehensive, holistic, natural program that focuses on just creating comfort in the knee joint. That's what I got. I got to bounce here because we have our knee club call. They're on Mondays at 1:30 p.m. Eastern and Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern. So we're going to be going, or I am going to be going live here shortly. You're absolutely welcome, Craig. Yeah, I got to scoot. We've got to get on the knee club call. You want more information, head on over to the kneepainguru.com website, and we'll see you over there. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time. Have a great one. Bye-bye.